Hi guys, my name's Ellie, welcome to my channel, and I have some palettes I want to talk to you about. So, as you guys have probably heard by now, the Urban Decay Naked palette, the original one, is being discontinued. There's a lot going around about whether or not it's real, whether they're going to bring it back due to popular demand, whether they're going to reformulate and relaunch and just call it something a little different but keep the style, because Urban Decay is very tied into the Naked theme. Oh, that doesn't look good. They're very tied into Naked as a theme, as a collection. They've got the palettes, they've got several other palettes, they've got the smaller palettes, they've got the foundation, I think they've got concealer, like they had the Naked on the Run, which is now just On the Run. They're not going to ditch the whole Naked theme. But I do understand why they would potentially revamp this, because this was way hyped up at the beginning, and as of right now, it's a nice palette. As you can see, mine's barely used. It's a really nice palette, but it's very, very neutral, very mid-toned, kind of a little cool. Just, if you work in an office and you have to have certain types of makeup, this is going to be a great daily palette for you, but a lot of people are straying more towards colorful looks, things with more mauves, more purples, something that they can wear both dressed up for days off and kind of toned down for at work. So, what I want to do is talk to you about the palettes that I have from Urban Decay, which ones I bought either when they launched or when they were full price still, and which ones I bought as they were being discontinued. I thought that would give you a good idea of whether or not grabbing the Naked palette while it's being discontinued, because it is a really good deal and it is on sale, the likelihood, at least from my perspective, of using it. So, let's talk about the first Naked palette I bought. This was not really going to be part of this. Actually, no. I lied. I have the Naked Basics one, but it's over there because I'm panning it. So, that's something I bought. That was the first Naked palette I bought. The next one I bought was Naked 3. These are both products that I bought at full price. This one I have decluttered to a friend. I just haven't, well, I've seen her, and then she forgot to take it from me, and it's just been sitting aside waiting for her to come back and get it. It's alright. As you can see, it's got some usage, but nothing really, really apparent. I was a little scared of these shadows because they were pretty pigmented for where I was, and then when I revisited it now, it's just not something I'd really use again. It's just not my favorite formula, and the effort to get a pretty good look out of that palette versus a much easier to work with palette that'll get the same type of effect, I just won't reach for it. And then, let's see what happens next. I think my next purchase might have been the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. This I bought like the day or so it released. It is gorgeous. Again, this is a different situation in that I really, really love it. It's got some neutral colors, it's got some greens, it's got some fun stuff. The formula is good. It's still not like my favorite formula, but it's quite usable. The main things you're going to have issues with are ones like Cake doesn't go on as opaque as I'd like it to go on, but the shimmers are really nice, the mattes are really nice. It's just kind of those in-between ones, like Cake, Metamorphosis could use a little extra pigment. Heads Will Roll goes on like a matte, but it's got some shimmer in it. Dream On is not a good shade. Like, you can make it work, but it's not a very user-friendly shade. But I bought this, and I loved it so much that I considered buying a second one to have a backup, which, as you can see, I don't even have any pan. Would have been a bad idea. I do really like it. I did enjoy it, and this one actually stayed available for quite a while, and then when it went to be, it was supposed to be limited edition, and when they started burning through the last of the stock, it went on sale. I did consider buying another one. I did not buy it for me. I bought it for a friend and gave it as a Christmas gift because I loved it. And then I think that's when I started getting into the palettes are being discontinued panic. So I bought the electric palette as it was being discontinued. This was a great purchase. These are gorgeous shadows. They are very pigmented. You can get surprisingly cohesive looks out of this arrangement of colors. They work really nicely. The shimmers blend lovely. The metallics do have a punch. If nothing else, I love slow burn as just like one all over the lid look. It's really, really nice. Jilted is a particularly gorgeous shade. I really, really like this palette. This was a good one, and this is one I really wish that they would bring back. They have not done that, and I'm a little salty about it because please just bring it back. The color that they've brought into their collection since then has really not replaced the fact that they don't have any brights. They've got like jewel tones and bright jewel tones, but they don't have neons. I really like this palette. This palette did have really good reviews. People were loving it and suggesting it, even if you didn't like bright colors. If you needed something just to play with or to test out, this was a really good palette to have, and they haven't brought it back, and I'm mad about it. I think that same year, they were discontinuing the Urban Decay Spectrum palette, which was a holiday from the previous year, which I bought and then gave to my mom to give to me for Christmas. And as you can see, I've used it a couple times, but again, no pan, no real use. In theory, you can pop this out and make like a nice box out of it, because this tray of shadows comes out. I don't know. This is one of those things that I really liked at the time, and it did kind of fill a hole. I didn't have a ton of greens and blues. The purples are quite nice, and you've got the neutrals down there. I feel like they always have to throw neutrals into it. That might be why I have such a love of the electric palette, that it wasn't really neutral in any way. There's none of those, like, you can tie them into neutral looks, but none of those are going to be like a mid-tone brown. This I have conflicting feelings on because it is nice. I really don't reach for it. I'm considering panning it, but I also don't want to get rid of it. Like, this isn't something I want to just give away to a friend, because I pulled all my ones out to see what I wanted to keep and potentially declutter and, you know, talk about, and I don't want to get rid of anything right now. They're all really pretty, so I'm going to keep them. Okay. Part 2. So yeah, as much as it's not like a super interesting palette, I still apparently have some kind of emotional connection, and they are really pretty shades that I would like to use more. So this might go on the try to pan it next year list, or at least get some more use out of it list. Trying to think what the next one I got is. I know I got this as a Christmas present from my boyfriend. It is very pretty. It is quite unique to my collection. I don't have a ton of glitters. I have more than I did at the time, but I do really like the Moondust formula. I kind of wish they'd picked different colors for the palette because they're nice, but there are other Moondust shadows I really wish had kind of gotten in here that would make this more something I'd reach for all the time, as opposed to now I pull it out for a specific, like, I'm like, I want blue glitter, and I'll pull it out for that, but I won't, like, have this sitting around and be pulling daily looks out of it. And with some of their really pretty duochrome glitter shadows they have in the Moondust collection, I wish they were in here. But I do like it. Let's see. What happened next? Ooh, next thing, I bought the Full Spectrum palette when it came as a holiday 2 years ago. And I did use it quite a bit right off the bat. This was kind of their, we don't have the electric palette anymore, here's some colors. And the formula in this is just not as nice as I'd like it. A lot of them are powdery, a lot of them are satin shades, which they're not my favorite formula. I would prefer either a matte or a metallic, so give me one of those, not an in-between shade. But it does have some really lovely colors like Seas. I love Seas as a one shadow look. Goldmine is really nice. Calavera was my first like yellow shade, and I did really like it. I think this is another one I would like to pull out more and see how many of these I can hide into office appropriate looks. And again, I for some reason am not alright with decluttering this right now. So apparently I am emotionally attached to a lot of these palettes. Next thing I did was the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette was being discontinued, so I bought it because it was on sale. And this is a very neutral, super neutral shadow palette, and I like it. I've used it a decent amount. My main complaint is the shimmer formula is not so great. I've noticed Urban Decay's shadow formula changes a lot year to year, and you will kind of get surprised by, normally the mattes are still pretty good, but the shimmers are either really, really good or crap. These are kind of crap. Like, did you need all three of these in the same palette? No. Oh, let's give you a fourth that you don't need. They all show up kind of the same on the lid. Technically, there's a little bit of color variation, but just not enough to be worth all of them in the same palette. I really do like Harajuku, but I have to really build it up. It's a really nice inner corner shadow if you can get it to stay. Danger has a ton of fallout, and these shimmer shades are nice, but they do kind of need a sticky base in order to be as impactful as I'd like. The mattes are nice, like Anaheim, Stark, Zone, Punk, even Serious are quite nice. I don't use blackout that much because I'm not a big black shadow person. I have come around to understanding what they're good for, but it's just not something I need in every look. Normally I'd rather deepen it with an actual color that feeds into the color story. And I don't do liner, so I don't like set my liner with black. So this is something I appreciate that I have it, and it was worth the sale price. But again, if somebody else was running out saying they needed it, I would ask them what kind of shadows and looks they do, because if you're, honestly, if you're much darker than me, the shadows on here aren't going to work much for you. If you want something that's really, really shiny or really, really bright, it's not going to work for you. If you want like a really, really soft neutral shadow look and you're pale as fuck, you're good. But I am really glad I got this on sale, because I would be kind of mad if I'd spent the full price on it. And again, it's one of those things I would like to take out those matte shades and pan them. And I apparently am not cool. Like, this packaging is fucking gorgeous, but the shadows themselves are a bit of meh. And then, what else do we have happening? I also got this. This is something that I didn't buy for myself. I expressed interest in because it was being discontinued and on sale, but it was also around the holiday season. They all come with brushes. This is the Urban Decay Vice LTD Reloaded. It's got a lot going on. As you can notice, Urban Decay does a lot of purples and greens and neutrals. I've done a couple looks out of this, and they are quite nice. This was right around when I started to notice that the formula with Urban Decay was hit and miss, depending on what palette you got when. And I really like it. I like a lot of the shades in here, like Mildew, Gold Mine. I guess I have two of those. Are those the same shadow? Let me find out. Yeah, Gold Mine in both the LTD Reloaded and the Full Spectrum palette. Very different textures, though. Those are not the same shadow. And it does have some really nice throwback shadows, like Gash and UV Blue. Smog's in here, which is a good one to have, and the mattes in here are also really, really nice. This is, again, something I really want to see how many of these I can repurpose into looks that I can wear to the office, because they are really nice shadows, and a lot of them are, at least they were unique at the time. Like, I'm sure I have stuff like them. I think Asphyxia is really similar to Tonic. I have a couple Urban Decay singles, but just not enough to really pull into this video. And again, that's something that it was nice to get on sale, but I feel like the urge to pick stuff up when it's going off their list, yes, there's a deal, but also it's being discontinued because it's either not part of their line anymore or nobody's buying it. I did also buy the Urban Decay After Dark palette, which I have conflicting feelings on. I do like the shades in here. I was a little sassy because they were marketing it as, you know, the replacement to the electric palette, and it's not. It is jewel tones, and again with the purples and greens, and like some neutral tones. These are nice. Some of them require a little extra work, but again, this is the kind of look shadows that you could, depending on what you pair them with, get away with wearing them to an office and be pretty happy with them. They are nice. They are pretty. The packaging is, again, really nice and sturdy. I really wish that just this, I know it's thicker, but it is a lot sturdier, and it feels a lot better. And I'm hoping that maybe they'll move towards these types of packagings for the Nakeds. I did buy the Naked palette at some point, maybe a year or two ago, and I've used it a couple times, and I just haven't pulled it out that much. And I think we're on to the last, most recent Urban Decay palette I have bought, which was on sale because it's being discontinued, Naked Smokey. I have literally never used this palette. It still has the film on the mirror, and again, this is something that is very, very neutral. Super neutral. Very pretty. My friend has it. I know people who've had it, so I know the quality is something I'm gonna like, but I just haven't had a reason to dig into it yet. And this is the kind of thing that it went on sale several times and I just didn't quite buy it, and then it went on sale as they were finally discontinuing it, and I needed it. So I bought it, and I set it aside to play with when I'd done something to earn it, and that was like beginning of the year, and we're in August, and I have not touched this palette. So as much as I'm happy it's in my collection, and I really think I will start to use palettes like this a lot more, as I do a lot of, I have to make my makeup work appropriate, and as much as I get plenty of comments saying that people like my makeup, I can definitely tell that it's being emphasized to be more neutral, more professional, because based on what I do with my job, I have to put out, you know, even if the rest of the people in the facility are dressing very casual, doing more fun stuff with their looks and everything, my position means I have to be a bit more, I guess, corporate, like professional, detached, not as fun with the colors and the stuff that I'm doing. So this would be great, especially if you have medium to deep skin. Them being deeper shades would mean that they would look a lot more neutral, a lot less, I guess, not bright, but like, you're gonna look a little funny wearing these shades, because they're gonna stand out a lot more in reference to medium to deep skin, whereas these are gonna blend in and look like a nice, you know, neutral, like a nice work appropriate neutral look. Although we do have some lightness over here. So, things I have learned is that just because something's being discontinued does not mean I need to buy it. Just because something's on sale does not mean I need to buy it. There's a lot of shadows here that are not getting the love and attention they need that I bought because they were on sale, or because, oh, they were being taken away, so I need to buy it. I think most people, if you have the Urban Decay Naked palette, you have it. And if you don't have it by now, it's because, oh sorry, my nose itches. Either you don't need it or you don't want it that much. And I just, unless it's something really, really amazing, like the electric palette, if you see the electric palette, buy it. But something as neutral as the Naked palette, you've got these shades in your collection somewhere. And if you don't, you're probably not actually wearing that much makeup, because they're hiding those types of shades in all sorts of different palettes. You've got a gold, you've got a mauve, you've got a taupe. You'll be fine. And I don't think you need a backup. I think understanding how much time it takes to go through makeup, if I sat down and used only these shadows, only these palettes for a year, I would not finish them all. And I think that's something that we need to be more aware of, is having backup palettes, having a second palette is just not worth it. It just isn't. I don't think it being on sale, like, unless you're gifting it to somebody who's just getting into makeup and you're like, oh, let me buy you the Naked palette, you know, before it goes away. If you've been doing makeup for any amount of time and you don't have it, you don't need it. You can get these shadows somewhere else. You will not notice it once the hype has died down about it leaving. If it comes back revamped and reformulated and with like a more updated color scheme of, like, you know, the Naked Resurrection or something, that will be fine, but it's going to be different, and you're going to be a little mad that you spent money on the old Naked palette as it was leaving, when they're probably going to come out with something like it soon. So, that is my history of buying Urban Decay eyeshadows, and yeah. I apparently still like all of these. That was a surprise to me. I really hadn't been... I want to buy the On the Run palette, but I'm holding off because, as pretty as it is, it's not unique to my collection. It would be nice to have all those shadows in one spot, but I don't need it. And as you can see, I have, even just in Urban Decay, I have an unreasonable amount of eyeshadow for one person. And I just think that as much as we all have, a lot of people have emotional attachments to the Naked palette, I think Urban Decay's playing on that and playing it up and trying to get you to buy stock that they can't get rid of. So, not an upbeat, but yeah. Of all the things that I bought as they're being discontinued, one of them I really love. One of them I think I will love once I use it, but one of them I actually love. And the rest are nice, but I obviously am not noticing them because I'm not reaching out for them all the time. Seeing them, yes, I would like to use them, but I'm not noticing the absence when I'm not using them. I hope that makes sense. I hope this isn't just like a jumbly mess, but that is my history of buying things as they come out versus things as they're being discontinued with Urban Decay. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Let me know if you have the Naked palette, if you're still using it often, if you've panned it, if you're just getting into makeup and you're really tempted to buy it, what your thought process is. Yeah, because I didn't get my Naked palette when everybody else got their Naked palette. I got it several years later to test it out as a makeup staple, and now it's not even going to be a thing that anybody has. Because people don't use their old makeup. Really don't. Most people don't. At least on YouTube. Most people on YouTube, unless you're part of the panning community, aren't using your old makeup. So, I'll see you guys next time.